Hello and welcome to our final week of Humanities 1301 Steampunk. This week should be fairly easy. All we are doing this week is turning in our final steampunk projects. You can find it by following the link here in week 16 or the link that's in the left hand menu. And remember, you had a lot of options to choose from. Most of you submitted a project proposal. I gave you feedback on that. You are allowed to change what your project is, but I caution you that if you've gotten to today and you've decided that the project you originally chose was overly ambitious, try to choose something that is still worthwhile. You can't just decide you're going to draw a picture for your final project. Um, if you were going to do something a little more elaborate, your picture has to have artistic value, and it must be some of your best effort. So I suggest you make sure of that. Um, Many of you talked about doing a poem. I know that that's one of the choices here as an epic poem, but you have to understand that the sonnets were one thing, but an epic poem is more along the lines of something like the Iliad or uh, not quite as dramatic as that, but something that tells a story and is fairly involved. So be sure that you think about that. Also, the same with the steampunk story. It needs to be a good story, it needs to make sense. It can't just be, oh, I feel like putting something together. So I know we have the multi-medium collage. That's not necessarily something that was so much for online, although you would have to take some really good images of that. When it says multimedia, that means it's not just online. It's not just pictures you've taken and copy pasted together into some sort of collage. It would need to be something that has elements of physicality to it, such as actual physical things put with other pictures, something that makes sense, something that tells a story and maybe has a theme. So many of you have opted to create something that you're going to use in your everyday life. That's super cool. I again encourage everybody to use reusable objects, found items, perhaps to repurpose. You don't need to be going out and buying a bunch of stuff off of Amazon or even eBay and trying to hobble it together, or even Hobby Lobby for that matter. Although, I highly encourage reusable things from thrift stores and even garage sales. So, in any case, if you have any questions, be sure to let me know. You still should be able to turn in your cultural event if you haven't done so already. That even though that was due this last week, let me know if you need to turn it in. I'm happy to open that back up for you, even though you did have the entirety of the 16, actually 17 weeks if you count spring break, to uh, to do that. So just let me know if you have any questions. I wanted to say it's been a pleasure being your instructor this semester. I have enjoyed the discussions that I've seen. It's been really great. I haven't really weighed in too much because y'all have been doing a great job of interpreting the chapters and discussions. I've been super impressed. I just wanted to let y'all know that that was one of the things that I thought was great about this course this time around. Uh, I hope that you will not necessarily keep steampunk near and dear to your heart, but I hope that perhaps you have an appreciation for it a bit more than, when you came into this course not knowing exactly what steampunk was, for those of you who didn't. I hope that you are able to find some joy in it, at least being able to appreciate it for what it is. If you've come through this and you absolutely hate steampunk, I totally understand that too. And just know that after this week, you never have to think about it again. In any case, if you need anything or have any questions, you can still reach me. I'll be finishing up grades, putting everything in by the end of this week. The last day to turn anything in is Thursday, May 11th. That will be the last day of our class officially. So please ask any questions as soon as possible. I will endeavor to return to answer your questions and get back to you as soon as I possibly can this week. I'm very hyper focused on getting everything in and graded. So again, if you have any questions, please let me know. If you're interested, I do occasionally teach a English 1301 and 1302 course, generally speaking online, but I may be face to face in the fall and possibly next spring. So again, it's been a pleasure being your instructor. I wish you great success in the future in all of your endeavors, and have a great summer.